guess I should turn on the mic.
You should turn on the mic. Good evening, everyone. Brenden Valks, the gentleman, back again with Embrace the Storm podcast. I'm here with my wonderfully dressed host. I feel very underdressed today, Mr. Jeremy Weins.
I don't blend in with the background this time.
I know, I've been bugging you about that. But you are still wearing a black shirt underneath the blazer.
But the blazer, so...
It's a good blazer.
Well, I didn't have a chance to change. I've been kind of going all day.
Giving her.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, before we dive into our topic today, as always, good week, bad week?
It was... Week? We'll go with busy week. There was good, there was bad. Overall, it was just it was very productive. A lot of good things happened.
Yep.
A lot of challenging things, but we're gonna get through those, and that's what kind of brought in the topic is challenging situations. And
no, I think that's good. Yeah. I think that's good, and I like kind of where you were going with that topic. We were just discussing it before we hopped on here.
Well, how was your week?
My week was interesting in that it started slow, and we had all that rain. So we had no power out where I work. So I had a random Tuesday off, which worked out because I had some water in my basement. Glad to see you guys stayed dry.
Yeah, back.
Well, I guess for your son's sake. You don't really care. You live on the second floor.
It didn't turn to waterbed, so...
Yeah. So then, it started slow, and it ended quite busy, actually. I've got lots of projects now on the go. That's going to keep me busy for the next few weeks.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's good. I like being busy. It's good. It's just, the seasons are changing. Weather's slowly starting to change. And it's feeling a little bit like fall.
It is.
Even though it was hot today, it's starting to feel like fall, like changes are coming kind of thing is sort of how it feels to me.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just that's kind of how I've been feeling. Changes are coming. So with that being said, we'll leave that for later. We're going to talk about routines and chaos.
Yes.
And so you suggested this topic of building routines. And I shot back and I said, why? Why should we talk about this? And I talk about that. Why are we talking about building routines?
Yeah, routines is something that can be so overlooked. It's just, what's the point of a routine? Who cares? And making sure that good routines is going to be the next point to that. But routines, it gives you something stable to work through, to live through in the midst of the chaos of life. Because life could be, you can have great things, you can have bad things, you can have the mix, you can have everything, right?
Yeah.
But your routine, and specifically for myself, because real estate and council and stuff, they're a little bit all over the place, and so I don't have the same day very often, right?
Yes.
But what I do have is a good solid morning routine, and a good evening routine, and so that's something I've only started in the last couple of months or so. Well, the morning routine more so has been there for a while, but the evening routine in probably last month, I've really started dialing it in to be more purposeful with what I'm doing.
Before we dive into the good and what your routine is, let's talk about sort of the silly side of routines.
All right.
So right now on the internet, and I'm getting a little tired of them, but there's so many of these, we'll call them gurus out there, that by the time they're done talking to you about routines, you have like this 2.5 hour morning routine and this 2.5 hour evening routine where you hang upside down by your ankles and sing Kumbaya and wash your face 3 times and all this stuff. And before you know it, it's like noon and it's lunchtime and you haven't even started working. So talk a little bit about, what do you think about that?
I think there's some things to do what works for you is kind of the more important thing instead of following what works for everybody else, right? Because I think nobody's the same. We're not all wired the same, so different things are going to be for different people, right? An example, some people might think ice baths, they're ridiculous, there's no point, they're just one of those weird things that people do, right?
Yep.
Especially
when it's trending on the internet.
Especially when it's trending. I jumped on the trend, and I do it now, but not because not I don't know that I get all those effects that they talk about, right? That oh, I get this and that and all these
Yeah.
wonderful things are happening.
Yeah.
I mainly do it because it sucks. I don't like it.
Hmm.
Most of my days are like oh dreading it,
Yep.
but I do it anyway because look, hard things happen in life. You have to do hard things, so just do it anyway.
Well, and if if you do that, it's kind of like eating the frog, right? Famous Stephen Covey book. If you eat the frog first, the rest of the day is easy.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's kind of the ice bath thing for you. Is you do something really hard in the morning that sucks.
yeah,
The rest of the day, no matter what the day brings you, it's easy in comparison to starting your day hard with an ice bath.
yeah. Well, to give an example, one day in particular, not too long ago, this last week, I was like, I got up and I was like, I'm not going to the ice bath today. I don't care. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Right? And that's not happening, right? And
Your inner dialogue just kind of went childish for a minute.
oh, 100%. Like I'm just digging my heels in. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm having this conversation in my head as I'm getting dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, kind of as I'm just like, nope, not doing it. This
Yeah.
is not going to happen. I'm getting dressed. And I'm like, I got my swim trunks on. I got my shirt on. That I'm going to go in. I'm like, okay, so I'm already dressed to do it. But I'm not going to do it. I'm like, I don't care. Then it was like, okay, just go to the gym because that's where the ice bath is now. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to go to the gym. And I don't care. I'm going to change there because now I'm already wearing this and this is ridiculous. So I'm just going to go change there. Okay, fair enough. I get to the gym and I'm like, I'm walking in and there's people and they're like, well, now they all see you in your swim trunks. So now you got to go into that room, right? And so I'm playing this game in my head the whole time. I'm like, doesn't mean I have to go in there. I'm like, yeah, no, you just have to go to that room, right? And I get to that room and I'm like, if you walk out and you're not wet, people are going to know that you chickened out. And it's like, right? And it's like, okay, well, they have a shower. You have to rinse off. So, okay, well, I'm going to rinse off the shower and that's it, right? And the whole time, I know what my point is, but I'm like, okay, fine, just do the shower. And then like, okay, well, I got out of the shower. Well, you're already wet, so just go in. Just do it for a minute, right? Like, who cares? Okay, so I decided I'm gonna go for a minute. I sit down and like, okay, I'm here, I'm in this, and I'm about 40 seconds in, and it's like, well, you're in it already for a minute. Just do the 3 minutes and be done with it, right? And so
Yeah.
I sat there and I was there for I think 3.5 minutes before I got out, and I was just like fine, there you did it. You hope you're happy, right? And I just like, but
You're mentally exhausted the whole time.
yeah,
because
like
you've
I
been
just,
fighting with yourself.
but it was one step. Even though I didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I don't have to convince myself to do everything. I just have to convince myself to do the next thing.
Yep.
And
It's a psychological principle though. Like I've studied it a little bit through different things, reading and such, but this psychological principle of lying to yourself almost, where it's like you don't have to go to the gym tomorrow, but just lay out your clothes tonight.
yep,
And then you get up in the morning when your alarm goes off and your clothes are already laid out, so you're like, may as well just put them on, right?
yep,
And that's kind of what you did.
100%.
You know, is you kind of have these sort of lies to yourself. I'll just go to the gym. I'll just look at the tank. I'll just shower off.
Yeah.
Right? And eventually you coax your mental self
Yeah.
to get in the dang cup.
And then you're in there and you're like, okay, I did that. That sucked. And I just like, for the moment I got up, even till I was done, like, there's nothing about that I enjoyed.
I don't think there is ever, like, you never enjoy it. You enjoy how you feel after,
Yeah.
right? Like the benefit you get from the tub after, the benefits you get from the gym after.
Yeah.
The after is awesome. The before and during suck.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's something that especially that during. Well, I think the worst part is the before, right? You build up something in your head so much
Mm-hmm.
that when you're in it, that before you even get to it,
Yeah.
you have thought of a million ways that this is going to be bad.
Yeah,
And-
you've already convinced yourself of why you're not going to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you have convinced yourself of like,
How many of
I am
us
gonna
do?
get hypothermia. Really? Like, like,
How many of us do that just to get out of bed in the morning?
oh yeah,
Like, you know, 5 minutes is okay. Like, I'll just lie here another 5 minutes. I
yep,
don't need to,
yep,
oh, I'll do whatever it is tomorrow. Like all these different things we tell ourselves. Like our fight or flight brain wants us to be comfortable so much that we have this difficulty around doing what we know is right.
yes. Well, an exact another example of that is in real estate. We go on a listing appointment to try to get a listing.
Hmm.
Now, everybody talks about commissions is going to be this big topic, right? The amount of times where I'll go into a listing and I'll walk out of there with a higher commission than somebody else who, when I competed against other people, who will do it for less commission than I would.
Yep.
But I got the listing, and I'm like, and I got asked, how did you get that? Because I asked for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I even had to convince them. I'm like, I know that the other people could do it for less, but
Yeah.
this is why I'll do it for this. And they were like, we're good with that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's also having the confidence to be like, okay, this is I'm valued, right? So
Yeah.
but to get in your head so much before something.
Yeah.
If I'm in my head before going into like, oh, I could drop my commission, I could do this, and but now taking money away from my family. This is how I support.
You're also taking
Like,
your worth away too,
yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
this is my value to myself, to those around me. This is how I live, right? And
Yeah.
I'm giving my kids money away, like money that's for our family away, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to do that. Like you start
Yeah.
thinking of it that way, it's like, well, hold on, that's not good. I don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
it adds to your value, right?
I think though that going back to routines, I think
Yeah.
that is everything you just talked about is one of the reasons why building routines matters, is because when you do your routines, part of that routine is discipline,
Yes.
right? Even if it's something as simple as journaling every morning for
Yeah.
5 minutes or whatever, right? You got up and you spent that extra time journaling.
Yeah.
That takes discipline to string days and weeks and months together to do that practice.
Yeah.
Well, what you're doing is you're wiring your brain, those pathways in your brain, to go, oh, we're capable. We have value. We can do these things.
Yes.
And so, at its core, regardless of how you feel about routines, it can wire your brain up to understand the worth that you have in yourself. So when you do go out, you don't slash your commission in half. You don't take money off the table because you know what you're worth.
Yes.
And that discipline helps you build that worth.
Yeah. And routines, that's going back to doing something hard
Yeah.
first thing in the morning. Then you're just like, okay, well, that sucked.
What do you think about this idea? So, because I always laugh when I hear people joke about 2.5 hour routines. All of a sudden it's lunchtime kind of thing. This idea that a routine can become work avoidance or life avoidance because you have to do your routine. It's something I've thought about.
Yeah. Like, so I'll go through my routine a little bit. Then you can get an idea of what I think of when I
Yeah.
think of routine, right?
Love it.
Okay, so I'll get up,
Yep.
go to the washroom.
Yep.
I'll get dressed in my trunk suit and shirt and
Yep.
whatever. I'll have my gym bag. It's already packed the night before.
Yep.
I grab that. I go downstairs, make a protein shake, and whatever, and drink that right away to get protein in, like first thing in the morning, and then I'm off to the gym. I'll go to the cold tub, and then I'll go straight into my workout, which will be about an hour. Like that includes my cardio in between and after, right? Whatever, right?
Yep.
And then I'll come home. I'll shower and get ready for work.
Mhm.
Drop the kids off at school and head to the office. That's my morning routine.
What time are you at the office?
Well, I drop the kids off at 8:30, so
9 o'clock. Kind
so
of thing.
yeah, 10 to 9, 9 o'clock, and I'm at the office, and that's how I start my day every day. Like that's the beauty of having that routine is
So what time do you get up?
I get up at 6.
So between 6 and 8 o'clock, you're taking care of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing what
And
I
you're probably 35 minutes in there, showering off, getting ready, all that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Well, I get back from the
Yeah.
gym at 8
Okay.
or 8, 5 after 8. It's usually when I get back from the gym.
Yep.
So after that, it's the shower. But while I'm there, so
So you gym for 2 hours, roughly.
well, by the time I get ready and get going and stuff, I'm usually at the gym about 6:30.
Okay. So an hour and a
But then
half.
yeah, but then you do the cold tub, and you do that,
Excuse
and you
me.
gotta get ready. Right
Yep.
there goes like the cold tub. Yeah, you're only in there for 3 minutes, but you go into that room, and quite honestly, it takes me like a minute or two to just like
Psych yourself up.
psych myself up. Then I
Yep.
gotta shower off. Then you gotta go in there, and then you gotta go bring out your clothes afterwards and whatever and
Yeah,
pack
yeah.
it. Like
Because you change so you
yeah,
can go hit the gym
and
and
I'm not rushing through it all,
yeah.
right? I'm kind of like
Yep.
just going through the process. So that all takes time. So I do work out for about an hour, but like everything else just takes time.
But you're not hanging from the ceiling upside down
Yeah.
for 20 minutes. You're not
But
drinking some weird syrups or something to get you ready for life.
no. But what I'm doing is I'm also so on my way to the gym in the
Hmm.
morning. I have what is it like a 45-second, 60-second clip of a prayer that I listen to,
Okay?
and I'll listen to it two times generally on the way to. It's the same thing every morning. It's nothing
Yep.
new. It's just the same
Yep.
thing. Uh, Pastor Leon Fontaine, he does this one little thing, and just it's something that okay it gets me focused. Okay,
Yeah.
when I go to the cold tub, the first thing I do is as I'm going in there because I realize I just need something to focus onto, and just to whatever. And so I will every time I'll say the Lord's Prayer,
Yeah.
right? In my head, like I'll say it out loud, like
That's how you get in.
that's how I
Yeah.
get in is just to focus on like
Yeah.
something, right?
Something else.
And for whatever reason, I
That
did that
works.
once, and I'm just
Yeah.
haven't stopped, right? So that's been my. It sounds
It's
funny,
it's an anchor.
but it's something that okay,
Yeah.
this solidifies me, right? And also sets my day as like
Yeah.
this is where I'm going to be, right? And so then I'll do that. I'll say the cold tub, and then when I'm doing it there, I'm just like generally just breathing, just concentrate on my breathing, on my
Yeah.
breath, and just I'm not trying to think of this or that. I'm just trying to control my breathing and just get it calm and relax and
I think I just said the word anchors and I wrote it down before. I think that building routines, building in certain things to your life becomes an anchor. And I think that we need those anchors to set us up for the day.
yeah,
And and what I mean is if you build a routine of getting in the cold plunge every morning, even though it sucks, you know you can rely on the fact that you're going to get into that cold plunge because it's a controllable,
yeah,
right? We've got work, we've got kids, we've got spouses, relationships, everything else going on in life.
yep,
That a lot of it is out of our control to some extent. But getting in that cold plunge, going to the gym, protein shake, journaling, whatever, listening to the same 4 minute deal,
yeah,
these are all controllables. They create anchors in your life and you string them together, they become a routine. A routine creates discipline, which then creates worth and helps you navigate the rest of the chaos for the rest of the day.
yeah, yeah. And I also say so that's my morning. Then in the evening, I think it's just as important to have kind of a routine in that because then it's back to something you control, something that's for you, something that's brings you back to that order, right? So if
Yep,
everything's been chaos, you can go to bed with order again, right? And
yep. Clear your head.
that generally has helped me clear my head. So generally that my evening routine will be I will get my bag, I'll head to the gym again,
Yep,
I'll go start the sauna. It
yep,
usually takes about 20 minutes to heat up.
yep,
I'll go do if I want to get my steps higher, I'll go walk the treadmill. If I want to, I'm happy with them, I'll go lift something heavy just for fun because
yep,
I like to do that. So try
yep,
something heavy and
yep.
do something I enjoy. That's not part of my workout, but like it's
It's
something I
just fun for
enjoy.
you.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's just to add on, and it's whatever. Then I'll go sit in the sauna for 20 minutes and just sweat. And I'll do whatever I want. Like I've done videos in there and such before. Like we're
Yeah.
just recording and talking and whatever.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is in there, and sometimes just doom scrolling or whatever. But
Yeah.
and then I'll go back, I go home, shower again, and I have my journal, my Bible. I'll go through, do that, and then
Yeah.
it's bedtime.
This is how you know Jer has older children.
I go to the gym twice a
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
but
Because they're self-sufficient. But I think that's good. I think one thing I've started doing evening wise is I try and turn off devices. Right now I'm listening to an audiobook series, so I have an earbud in usually in the evening.
okay,
But I'll off devices, like looking at devices, and I'll make a cup of tea.
yeah,
And I'll sit and well, again, right now I'm listening to an audiobook, but I'll sit and read, have a cup of tea before bed, and it's kind of just my way of putting the world away for a little bit, the Instagram and the Facebook and the work email and whatever. Just
yeah,
put it down, And so that's something you were talking about having an evening routine. I was like, I don't really have one, but I kind of started one in that I'm just trying to put the screen down,
yeah.
you know.
That's a big battle for myself. That
Yeah.
will 100% be.
Well, especially because in the evenings, like if you're not, I find if I'm not strategic with my time, reading or doing something else, playing a game, whatever, I find myself doom scrolling for no reason, zero reason. I'm not
Yeah.
even looking for anything, and so I just, I, I was sitting there one day like this, and I was doom scrolling through reels or something, and I was like, I'm not even doing anything. Like I'm not looking for anything.
Yeah.
I'm not even that interested in what's coming across the screen.
Right?
And so I just like in that moment kind of did one of these where I was like, and I picked up a book, and that was like only a few weeks ago, but
Okay.
like that was sort of a moment where I was like, that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
Like we need to change something about that because phones are great devices.
Sure. Absolutely.
Connect you to great things, information at your fingertips. But if all you're gonna do is dumb doom scrolling, like you could probably do something better with your time. At least that's the way I think. You can disagree, that's totally your call. But I needed to do something different. So I started reading books and having a cup of tea in the evening. And that's kind of my thing.
Well, like I said, it's not a one size fits all, right? Now, going back to your other question, do I think a 2.5 hour, 3 hour routine is necessary?
Yeah.
Probably not. Like,
Yeah.
probably like, and I get people want to get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and do that, but I think if it's practical, like if it makes sense, like absolutely, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot
sorry.
of pressure now that,
Yeah.
or not pressure, but a lot of like influencers are saying, "Oh, do this, do this, do this," right? And it's like
Yeah.
it's a excitement thing, right?
This
Just like the
sequence of
quote.
events
Yeah.
changed my life.
Yeah.
Like
And I think there's value in getting up early. I think sleeping till 9, 10 o'clock is kind of, I think that's not really good, right? So I think that's just my two
I think-
cents, but like,
sleeping in is for losers. I can't sleep in, so I'm making fun.
hey, you know what? Some days like I try to, and usually it's 8:30 is my sleep in if I'm really having a good,
Yeah.
if I'm staying up way too late, and
I can hit 7. That's like
yeah,
that's it.
yeah, yeah.
But
So
I think there's no one size fits all. There's also no formula. So you go back to these gurus on the internet. If you do these 10 things for the 2 hours, you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hook is, right? I don't think there's a formula or one size fits all. I think that routines are important because they do create that anchor we were talking about.
yeah,
And I think we all need anchors when there's so much going on in our daily lives, in the world around us, to just have that one thing. And maybe for you, it's 10 minutes of journaling in the morning. Maybe it's 5 minutes of gratitude. But you have like that one thing that's just for you.
well, here's what I'll say about those gurus and such. I think one of the things they have right is they have a plan
Mm.
and they have discipline, right? Because if you're going to follow these 10 things,
Mhm.
but what you're really doing above anything else is you're establishing discipline.
Yeah.
You're establishing a mindset. You're establishing like.
Yeah.
So I not that I'm going to say that they don't work. They do, but not because you're doing those things, but because you're doing something.
Because you're rewiring your brain.
And you're creating a. Yeah, I think that whole thing of rewiring your brain and establishing this routine, this discipline, and good disciplines you get rewarded for.
So, we have not been going for as long as I thought we were. Just checking the time here. I thought we were talking for longer, actually, in a good way. Something I want to talk about in this realm that came to mind when you actually texted me this was falling off of routine.
Okay.
So, I have been in that cycle as of late. We talked about that in the last podcast.
Yeah.
You build a routine, it goes well for a little bit, and then it stops. And I'm just going to talk from my side of the table here, right, literally and figuratively. When something happens in my life that throws off my schedule, and not like, oh, you have a doctor's appointment, or oh, you're not going to work today. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like some sort of life stressor. When a life stressor happens in my life, no matter how great of a discipline I've built, no matter how much of a routine I've built, and I think I have an answer to it. I'm going to answer myself.
Yep.
But I fall off. And then I fall off of everything. And then I'm back to square one. Right? And we're talking last podcast about how these sort of stretches are getting shorter, which is sort of the goal. But I think part of the reason why I can fall off so easily is because I didn't actually build that discipline in me long enough for it to become autopilot. It was still a conscious decision. In your case, using you as an example, it's still a conscious decision to get into the cold tub. It's not autopilot.
Yeah.
Still a conscious decision to go to the gym. It's not autopilot. I haven't built those habits enough for it to be autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I fell off. So, what's your take on, you do it for a little bit and then you fall off? 'Cause I know you've had that in the past as well.
Well, I think you do it for a little while, then it gets hard, and you're still pushing through, and then also you hit a point where it's like, oh, it's easier. The pressure eases off, and you're like, oh, okay, well, like, then what's that word we use? Creep, right?
Yeah.
Then it just creeps in, right? A little bit here, a little bit there, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know is like,
I'll just sleep in a little bit.
yeah, you got a little too comfortable, right? And then when that creep comes around, then it's the killer of everything.
I've been thinking a lot about that concept actually recently. This idea that I'm still in front, right? Yeah, okay. This idea that what we really need to fight against, what I really need to fight against, is comfort.
Mm.
Like, I've just because of some of the things I've been reading lately, I've been struck by this idea that we're very comfortable in North America, like U.S. and Canada. We're very comfortable. We're very easily distracted by comfort.
Yes.
And I think what we're really trying to do when we talk about building routines and discipline and stuff like that, is we're really fighting against comfort, against that creep of comfort.
Yeah.
I see a cool T-shirt in my head.
That's an interesting one. No, I think you're right, because it's so easy to get just settle in, get comfortable, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah. I don't need to fight. I don't need to fight against what's inside of me. I can become 400 pounds and it's totally fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, well, there's how many of those things where it's like now they're trying to make it more socially acceptable almost that this is wonderful. This is how God made you. No, your poor choices made you like that, right? Like and I wanted to talk. Look, I'm a big guy. I'm not apply to. I'm not saying, oh, God made me this way and that's how I am, right? No, I made bad choices which got me to this point. Like that, like this is not with God. Like this is what He is. But no, like I think that there's characteristics, there's character in me that this is what. But I think also I
God
I
didn't
went
put us
maybe,
here to be fat and lazy.
I made my own choices to get to this
Yeah.
point, right? So now I got to okay
And I'm not
make
calling you fat
no
or
no I
lazy.
know no I know that, but I got to but I got to make different choices
Yep.
now
Yep.
to come back to a place where this is actually where I should be, not here, right? So
I want you guys to hear what Jared just said. Different choices. Different choices. You made choices to get to wherever you are, health wise, financially, relationally, whatever it is. It's time to make different choices.
yeah,
And that's what we're talking about with routines. Is routines build discipline. Discipline helps you make different choices.
yeah. Well, and even there, so talking about that, I've been going to the gym for like consistently for a long time.
Yep.
That hasn't been a struggle.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Yep.
My diet has sucked. Okay, so for a long time, like I
Yep.
do good, then I do bad, then I do good, then I bad, right? So that's been my yo-yo, right?
Yep.
And then that's kind of been my ups and down, right? And so now also lately, I started going in the morning,
Yep.
and then I went again in the evening because they opened up a therapy room at the gym, which has the sauna and the cold tub, which has been wonderful, right?
Yep.
And so I've been using that, and then I started thinking like, why am I doing all this stuff? And yet I'm worried about all the output I'm doing, but I'm not worried about what I'm putting in, right? And it's like I have to get this right. And so since then, I'm like that really bothered me and whatnot. And so okay, we're making changes. We're changing things up now, right? And so
Well, didn't you start going to the gym? And I have a point of where I'm going here. But you started going to the gym in the evening because you had a relatively stressful few days or week or whatever it was. And so you were just like, screw it, I'm just going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you made a different decision. And what I mean here is we established several podcasts ago, you're a stress eater.
Yeah.
You make poor food choices. I was going to say life choices. Poor food choices
yeah.
out of stress, which I do the same thing. Right. Bags of chips, here we come. But in a moment of clarity, you decided one very stressful day, week, whatever it was, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go to the gym and lift heavy things. Right?
Yep.
And that different decision has continued and become a routine, a discipline for a couple months.
Well, I've been going to the gym in the evening now for just over almost a month. I think it is
Almost
about
a
a
month.
month. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's been something where.
So you made, whether consciously or unconsciously, you made a different decision. Instead of eating your feelings of stress.
Yeah.
You were just going to go lift some weights.
Just go lift something heavy just for fun.
And I think that more of us, myself included, we need to make those different decisions. We need to decide, because a lot of men, I think, are kind of that way, right? In a stressful situation, they go back to a comfort thing.
Yeah.
Pacify sorts.
Yeah.
Right? Some guys drink, some guys eat, some guys gym, some whatever.
Yeah.
We all have a thing. But if you make some different decisions, some healthier decisions, going for a walk around the block when you're stressed, getting a heavy bag, reading, going into a corner and reading a book or a magazine, or journaling out, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I think making some of those different, better decisions is something that can easily become a routine because you feel good. Like, you going to the gym in the evening, you felt way better going to the gym in the evening than eating some BQ.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, not only did I feel better that evening, the next day waking up, well, my sleep has been getting better. Everything's been kind of getting better in that regard because it's like
your inputs are better.
I'm putting better things in, right? And I'm more in control.
Inputs control outputs.
Yeah. And for me, I realized I'm better if I'm more restrictive with myself because I think one of the big reasons I fall off any diets is because it's like, well, you can have whatever you want. You just gotta Yeah, and then all of a sudden, well, my measurement now went from
You and I are very similar. Different areas maybe, but
yeah,
we're very similar. Where the more regimented I am, the better I am.
yeah. Whereas now, what I'm doing now is extremely strict. Not strict, but like this is what you're allowed. That's it. If you're
Hmm.
not going to do that, then you're done, right? And
It's why the 75 hard thing doesn't work for a lot of people because they try and make it 75 soft,
yeah,
right? They try and skirt the rules. I'm doing 75 hard, but I'm still doing this thing, whatever it is,
yeah. So you're not really
right?
doing it then.
I'm only doing 1.5 workouts instead of 2.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm doing it all, but I'm still drinking, right?
yeah,
And I'm not like I haven't done 75 hard,
yeah.
but that and Andy Frisella, if you listen to him, he rallies on that pretty good.
Absolutely. Even his book, he is very hard on that, right?
But
Understandably so, because that's his point. Is that 75 hard? It's about building those disciplines
yeah.
and not lying to yourself.
But I think that that's why we find ourselves in those situations, is because we go unregimented, undisciplined, and we go, I'm gonna do this thing, but I'm also gonna just dabble on the side with something else, right? Like in your diet, right? I'm doing this diet, like I'm eating this way,
Yeah,
but on the weekends I'm gonna be over here,
yeah,
you know? And we're not saying don't have fun. We're not saying indulge and live life or whatever, because like life is meant to be enjoyed. But decisions have consequences, and one day we're all gonna have to physically answer for certain things we eat and certain ways we move or don't move.
yeah.
And you can just kind of think about that yourself, what that means for you. But what you eat matters, and so
But even going back to the routine thing is, I listened to a little clip of Robert Herjavec, and he was talking about
oh
he
yeah,
he did a quote of choose your hard, right? No
yep,
matter what it is,
yep,
this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. Choose your hard, right?
yep,
And he quoted that he's like, I run every day.
yep,
He's like, and people ask me, oh, I wish I could run like you. I wish I could run. I wish I could enjoy it as much as you. He's like,
yep,
I hate running,
yep.
but I'm disciplined because it sucks, and I know I could do it, but I do it because
Yeah,
it's my discipline, right? So learning that, like, and this is a guy who
for the record, running sucks.
running sucks. I could just no thanks.
Yeah,
But like this is something that somebody who's well, like very successful, he's like, no, I still do things that suck.
guys.
So
But what I've learned watching some of those guys is success comes from doing the boring crap really well, from having those disciplines to do the same things day in and day out, even if they're hard, even if they're boring. You continue to do them, and that's what builds success,
yeah,
right? And some of what I said was a quote from somebody I don't remember about boring things, but the idea is people think success is flashy and cool and whatever, but a lot of times you get to success from doing the small disciplined actions on a daily basis. And I'm over here saying that when I struggle with it myself. So I'm going to be transparent on that. I struggle with it. I'm not successful to the extent I want to be yet.
yeah,
But I know that that's the truth
yeah,
because I know when I'm regimented and disciplined and doing everything, even though I'm not where I want to be, I feel way better
yeah,
mentally, you know?
absolutely.
Yeah, it's super interesting how it all becomes a flywheel.
Yeah,
Like you don't feel mentally well, so then you don't do the things you
just
know you should do.
take a minute off. And I'm gonna look step. Well, keep
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. Like you don't feel well, so like mentally, so then you take a day off, and then you take another day off, and then you eat a little worse, and then you eat even more, and it's just this constant flywheel. And I've got a friend online, and he talks a lot about this. Is what you eat actually affects your mood and your mental state. So food has a direct connection to the brain
Hmm.
and how your chemicals balance and or don't balance,
Yeah,
as the case might be. And I find that very interesting because if you think you binge that ice cream right before bed because you're having a stressful day,
yeah,
how you feel the next day?
not great.
A little mentally foggy.
Well, you're tired. Like it's harder to get up often. You're just yeah, you're mentally foggy. You're just like sluggish, and I know there's some days that I've gotten up and I've like, this feels like a hangover, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm just slow
I get
and
the
just
chip hangover
like
because I
yeah,
decided to eat a bag of chips.
right. It's just
Like,
like what the heck? Like
yep,
I feel like I drank a bunch last night and
yep,
I didn't, and
yep,
yet why did I feel
yep,
like this? Well, it's what you put in, right? That's gonna
100%. And for
outcome.
me, because like my digestive system is crazy. Like it tears up my brain, it tears up my stomach. Like
Okay, yeah,
I'm just like in terrible shape the next day.
yeah,
But I still do stupid things like that, and it's like I didn't even drink.
yeah,
I didn't like. It's not like I went hard last night,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So it's interesting how everything could affect you.
So how do you think, going back to routines, how do you
Yeah.
think, or what do you think is the best way to kind of get started in a routine?
So this is different for everybody.
Yeah,
And I know that's not the answer we were hoping for here, guys. But some people need to just pick one thing and add it to their life. So, for example, if you're going to read your Bible, just that's the only thing you're going to add to your life, right? You're going to get up 10 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier, read your Bible. For some people, it's an all in situation. So, starting tomorrow, you're reading your Bible, you're going to the gym, you're 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 drinking your water, you're like they're doing 10 things tomorrow,
right.
right? Like it's a drastic sort of cut and dry change, right?
Yeah,
And so what you need to do is you need to think, take 5 minutes and think to yourself what kind of person you are. You know, are you the, I'm just going to add one thing and then one thing. You know,
right,
like you stack. It's not just
right.
one thing
Yeah,
forever, but you start stacking. Or are you the person that's just starting tomorrow? This is how we're living life.
yeah,
You know, I think I've done both. Both have worked for me. But what I know is I can get slightly overwhelmed sometimes by the fact that I need to do all 10 things.
right.
And I'm being slightly drastic here.
No, no,
But
absolutely.
but that idea that I need to track my food, go to the gym, get up earlier, read 10 books, journal, blah blah blah, blah blah, like all these things. Sometimes that can be overwhelming, and so I just need to pick a couple things, right? Get up just a little bit earlier, put my phone across the room instead of right beside me,
Right.
right? Those sorts of things. And so I think you just need to figure out which person you are, and then once you've decided, do something.
So how do you know which ones to decide? Because I mean, like, let's say there are like 10 things or 5 things. How
I
do you
think so.
prioritize?
100%. So I think the two is, I'd love to get your opinion. My two big things are journaling and physical activity. I think that, and journaling doesn't have to be a fancy journal like paper journal or something. It can just be a note on your phone
Sure.
or even a
Yep.
voice note if you want to do that. Some people like doing that. But getting out of your head a little bit. And when I started, it was just a simple writing down 3 things I'm grateful for. That was it,
Yeah.
right? That's where I started. The other thing is, most of us are not very physically active, right? And so if that's the case, start by getting up 15 minutes earlier, go for a walk around the block,
Right.
right? Those would be my 2 recommendations. Start with a journal of some kind
Yeah.
and start doing more physical activity than you're regularly used to,
Yeah.
you know? Because everyone's got varying degrees. Some people haven't moved in years, others are, physical once a week. But that's where I would start.
Yeah.
Is adding in those disciplines. And again, it can be 5, 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be crazy. Like,
Start.
like walking around the block is 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Maybe if you're really, really out of shape, it's 15 minutes. Do that. And this is where I want to know your opinion. So I want you to answer the same question. But also, do they have to start a routine in the morning?
Well, so I guess where to start, my answer would be a little bit different is most people already know where they need to start. They just don't want to do it. That's
I've actually been given that advice before.
yeah.
I asked someone who deeply respect, who's quite a bit older and, financially better, like just
Yeah.
further along, better off. And that was his response to me was, You already know.
Just do it.
You already know.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the biggest thing. And let's say you're like, well, I really don't know. I don't know. And you're playing. Okay, well, then take a few minutes and think about the person you want to be. What are they doing? Right? And as you figure that out, it's like, well, they're doing this. Well, good for them. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm not doing that, but they are. Okay, well, then I got to start doing those things, right? And like you said, it's one little bit at a time. Start doing it a little bit, like,
Yeah.
and building that up. That's going to be your biggest thing of how you.
I think that's the
get there.
biggest thing is you need to build on it.
Yeah.
Because I said there was two types of people, but for 99% of people, they're not the kind of person that's just going to start tomorrow.
And they're
On
those
100%.
yeah, those type of people generally they'll start and they'll get it going.
Yeah.
And by week 2 they're done.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it was too hard. It was too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you did too much. Like,
Yeah.
you had the right idea. Everything was good, but let's do progress and not.
In Sean Whalen's book, How to Get Shit Done, he uses the analogy of how do you eat an elephant?
Right.
One bite at a time.
Yep.
And that's what Jeremy's talking about here, guys, is one bite at a time, every single day.
Yep. And so I do have something that I thought was really
Please.
cool that I came across here with regard to whatever it is you're going to do. Okay, so I got to answer your other question about.
Yeah, and then
routine.
then we'll end on.
Yeah, it's a good ending, I think. So
Yeah, let's end on that.
so by when do you start your routine? Honestly, I think the better to start morning. I would say that because well, I'm not a morning person. Well, I'm not saying you have to get up at 5 a.m. Right? I'm saying when you get up,
Yeah.
have something simple that's easy that you can control, and like to start, that's something that you're in control of that you can do, right? It could be as simple as reading for 10 minutes, going for a walk, doing affirmations, doing whatever it is that you're doing. Do something simple and do it first thing in the morning, because then I started my day off in a stable, controlled way.
I won this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I won this, and then you can look back the rest of the day as, oh, but I did this, so that's a success. That's a win, right? Start your day off with checking off those win
Today
boxes.
sucked, but I had one win.
Yeah. But start your day off with a win. Like now, I don't know. It's good to have different routines as you go, and everybody's place in life is different. But I think if you have a morning routine, that kind of sets your day for the most part. And even if you have a bad day, you can look back and say, I won. I got that. That was huge.
I would agree. I think, I think it's McChrystal wrote a book, Make Your Bed or something like that, right? But his whole thing is make your bed every single morning. You did something positive.
Yeah.
You won.
Yeah.
Right? And I've never read the book, so I don't know. I might be butchering the analogy, but that's how I take it is you did something positive for the day, you win. So even if the rest of your day sucks, you know that you started your day doing something productive, and you get in a nice crisp bed at the end of the day kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't make my bed. My wife makes our bed because she sleeps longer than I do.
Yeah.
But the analogy stands.
Absolutely.
So on that note, we talked about a lot: discipline, fighting comfort, finding those anchors. But you have something you want to share, so let's end on that.
All right. I saw this quote today, so I put a video and made it on my social media about this one because I absolutely loved it. It says, without commitment, you'll never start. More importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish.
That's the piece that most of us lack, including myself, is that consistency. I'm committed to winning, but I have yet to have the consistency that in my mind makes it autopilot so I can get where I'm going and add more things.
And I think it is that consistency is do it long enough that it becomes auto, like before overwhelming yourself with all these other things, right? Is excuse me, is do those things that you know you can do and consistently, and then start increasing, and then you end up with a 3-hour routine.
And here's how you know.
Just joking.
Here's how you know autopilot works is, did you brush your teeth this morning? What hand did you use? Did you get to work this morning? How'd you get to work this morning? These are all things that we do on autopilot. If you've ever gotten up in the middle of the night to pee, but don't really remember getting up. That was your brain going on autopilot.
Yeah.
If you've ever driven to the office without realizing you drove to the office, that's autopilot. Like, we do all these things on autopilot. That's how we know, Jeremy and I, that's how we know that we can all do more on autopilot.
Well, even there, I it's kind of funny. I heard all about that, and so every time I put on my shoes, I think especially at the gym, I will always do it a different way, just to kind
to
of
mess
just to be like, no, we're not doing it that way.
I tried one time to brush with my left hand instead of my right. First of all, I made a mess everywhere with toothpaste. Secondly, feels like a stranger is brushing your teeth.
I wouldn't want that feeling.
No.
Yeah.
But on that note, guys, consistency, discipline, finding comfort. This is why routines matter.
Yes.
This is why routines matter. It doesn't have to be 2 hours, 3 hours. It doesn't have to be some guru formulaic thing. You got to find a couple of things that work really well for you, and you have to make different decisions.
Make better decisions. Yeah.
Better
What is the guy that you want to be? What is he?
Yeah.
What decisions is he making?
What's the man you want to be doing?
Yeah.
Do more of that.
Yep.
On that note, guys, we love you.